So what is compound interest and why is it so important? Compound interest is very much like rolling a snowball down a hill. You start off really small, but as it continues to grow, it gets larger and larger and larger. The rate at which the snowball grows increases because there's more area for the snow to stick onto the snowball. At the bottom of the hill, you have a giant snowball. And metaphorically, a snowball effect is a process that starts from an initial state of small significant and builds up upon itself, becoming larger and larger and more powerful. Compounding is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it. Albert Einstein. So imagine that compound interest is like rolling a snowball down a hill. At first, the snowball is small, but as it rolls downhill, it gathers more and more snow, becoming larger and faster. Each snowflake that gets added represents the interest earned on the original start capital, and as the snowball grows, the growth becomes exponential. The same thing applies to your wealth. Your money grows exponentially with compound interest the longer it gets invested. Now, imagine two scenarios where a snowball of the same size rolled down a hill for a different period of time. In the first scenario, the snowball rolls for a whole day, while in the second scenario, it rolls only for an hour. Even though both snowballs were the same size at the beginning, the one that rolled for the whole day will be much larger than the one that rolled for just an hour. And this is because the snowball that rolls longer has more time to gather snow and therefore grows exponentially compared to the shorter period. Now, apply the same principle to money. This illustrates how compound interest works. The longer you have invested your money, the greater the final amount will be. And there are three important factors for compound interest. The first one is time. The second one is the invested amount. And the third is the interest rate. So the time is the most critical factor because it gives the snowball a chance to roll down the hill. In other words, how long can the snowball grow exponentially? The more time he has, the longer it rolls. So the bigger the snowball will become. So how big is the initial size of the snowball when you start? Because the longer the money is invested, the more time it has to build interest upon interest, resulting in a larger final amount of money. And the invested amount determines the initial size of the snowball, and the larger the amount, the more potential for its growth. And the interest rate affects the speed at which the snowball grows. The bigger the snowball from the start, the more speed it will gain, the bigger it gets on the end of the rolling period. And of course, the higher the interest rate, the faster the growth. But ultimately, time is the most crucial factor because it enhances the other two factors by providing more time for growth and accumulation for interest. So, what is the most important thing to know if you want to do something with compounding effect? So, what do you need to know? Here are three things. 1. Identifying long-term compounders. 2. Locking in good compounding rates. And 3. Having the patience to allow the snowball effect to work for you. So take the time to let the snowball roll. And start as soon as possible at a young age. So here you see an example of the difference in compound interest between two different investors. The first investor started at an age of 25 and set aside 5,000 each year for 10 years in a row. At age 34, investor 1 decides to not invest any more money. Then we have investor 2. And investor 2 started at the age of 35 and invests the same $5,000 each year for 30 years in a row until reaching age of 65. So who has more money at the end of the period? Does investor 1 or investor 2 has more money at the age of 65? So this example shows that The earlier a person takes advantage of the compound interest, the more time you have to grow your money. So when you want to start investing, for example, for a young child, you better invest at an early age so you can give them a financial kickstart. So when you have any questions, please let me know and hit the subscribe button. So when you hit the subscribe button, I see you in the next video. Take care.